Welcome to our Wanderhome stream, folks. If you're new here, we are three of the members of Compass Rose Productions. Up there in the, I can point in the correct direction. Up there in the top left corner of the screen is Aaron. Up in the top right corner of the screen is Logan, and down here in the bottom center is me, Scott. I'm a bit quiet. My microphone's not close enough to me. Is that better? Am I louder now? Am I an appropriate volume now? I hope I'm an appropriate volume now. So, thanks, Mom. Thanks. My mother, Casey, politely informed me that I was a bit quiet, and my mother responded, "Haha," said no one ever. So, thanks, Mom. Let me just turn up my volume, or my microphone settings a little bit, and hopefully it'll pick me up better. So, we're playing Wanderhome today. We're really excited about it. We love Wanderhome. We've loved Wanderhome since the Kickstarter started. Those of you who've been following us for a while probably remember we played Wanderhome, a few of us did, back when it was on Kickstarter. We're playing it again now because we love Wanderhome and we want to play more Wanderhome. So hopefully you all love Wanderhome too. If you're new here, we've played Wanderhome before. You can find that on the Compass Rose Productions YouTube channel. This video will also be going on the YouTube channel later. We'll let you all know when that happens. And of course, you can always go check out the other video. So, we are going to start off by introducing ourselves. Aaron, if you'll start.
Is it just us or our characters as well?
We're going to start with just us. So, name,
Okay.
pronouns, and interesting fact about yourself.
I am Erin. I use she, her. I work 7 days a week. If that tells you anything about me.
Okay. Logan.
Hi, I'm Logan. I use he, him pronouns. Fun fact about me, I have a mandarin on my desk that I'm going to eat.
Oh, if that counts, I have Reese's Pieces eggs, not sponsored.
Yeah, we currently have no sponsors. If anyone knows a great tea sponsor, like for tea to drink, not tea as in testosterone, I don't think there are any of those sponsors out there.
You never know.
But if anyone knows a great sponsor for like hot tea, tell them to check us out. I would love to have a sponsor for tea. Like, I drink a lot of tea, y'all. I really like tea. I'm a tea connoisseur. Both TEA and testosterone.
How many different types of testosterone have you tried?
2.
Oh, I forgot. I also have macarons from the Bruno Bros.
Anyway, so I'm Scott. You can also call me Scotty. Both are great. I love them both. My pronouns are he, him. I'm everyone's favorite two-spirit, transmask, punk. Probably. Don't fact check that. There are probably others out there that other people like more than they like me, but that's fine. And I am here to friendly remind you to take your fucking medications. If you haven't, and if you have medications you need to take. I'm taking mine right now.
Take care of yourself.
Yes, take care of yourselves. So, like I said earlier, we are part of Compass Rose Productions. Compass Rose Productions is a group of about 7 people, if I remember correctly. Math is bad. I don't like numbers. 7 people, and
That's a lot, Scotty. You're the only one who can do math in our group.
It doesn't mean I like it. Compass Rose Productions is a group of people who our like big goal, our main tagline as a group is that we like to our goal is to write happy endings for people who don't normally get them. Now, what does that mean? Who are people who don't normally get happy endings? Queer people, disabled people, people of color. That's our group. We, like, the group as a whole fits all three of those categories. Every single one of us is queer. A couple of us are, disabled. I'm Native American and Mexican. So, we're all three things. And we want to make sure that people like us get happy endings. So, to that end, sometimes our streams, games, whatever we're doing, we'll touch on some heavy topics. Our shit certainly isn't family friendly because I cuss too much for that. Unfortunately, Wanderhome as a game is very family friendly, though. If there are children in your lives, you should introduce them to Wanderhome. Don't introduce them to our streams. Wait until they're old enough to handle the cussing. So sometimes we'll touch on heavy topics, but we will always do so in a respectful manner. We will always include content warnings and trigger warnings anytime we're able to. Because sometimes with improv, you just don't know what you're going to touch on. So, our live streams, if you have trouble with some things, may not always be great for you. Wanderhome shouldn't be a problem. Don't worry about that. But we will always end things in a happy place. So, with no further ado, let's jump into Wanderhome. We're going to do a quick breakdown of the rules for our viewers who have never played before and for Aaron who has never played before. Wanderhome is a GM-less system. It can be played with a guide, but you don't need to have someone take the role of a guide. You can all collaboratively be a guide, you can pass the role back and forth, whatever you want to do. Last time we played, we had the most fun just working together on it. So it's a GM-less system. It's also a dice-less system. There's no math involved. You don't have to roll any dice. You just build your characters. You pick story beats that sound fun. You roll with, whatever sounds the most interesting to you. Like, as a group. Now, on that note, there are some tools that are useful when you are really doing any role-playing game with anyone at all. Doesn't matter whether it's Wanderhome, Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, Monster of the Week, Glitter Hearts. It doesn't matter what you're playing. These kinds of tools are useful for everyone, and these are going to be effectively consent tools. Before we jump into the tools that are baked into the rules of Wanderhome, we're going to talk a little bit about other consent tools that you can, get a hold of, which is going to be things like the X card, Lines and Veils, or Monty Cook's Consent in Gaming packet. Monty Cook's Consent in Gaming packet, Lines and Veils, and X card are all things that you can find really easily online. They're all free to use and distribute at your gaming tables to make sure that everyone is enjoying themselves and nobody is being negatively impacted by the game that you're playing. Because these are games. They're games. They should be fun in the end. Even if you touch on heavy topics, they should be fun in the end. You don't want to touch on something that's too heavy for anyone at your table to handle. So, back to Wanderhome. The journeying tools in Wanderhome are largely phrases. It's things like, let's do this instead. If you aren't sure that you want to do that, but you have another idea, suggest it. Do we want to is used to make sure that everybody does want to do what you've suggested. Because maybe somebody isn't keen on speaking up unless they're asked. Everybody reacts to things differently. Where to next is, if things get a little bit stuck, you can suggest moving on to a new place. What do you think is a good prompt for, getting other people to open up about their ideas? Because again, not everybody's going to be as willing to share. They're not going to be as experienced with role-playing and improv. So they may be a little bit reticent to suggest their own ideas. Hold on is, we should slow this down. We might need to take a break. We should reconsider. No is just no. No is no. If you don't want to do something, say no. And there's always walking away, because maybe this table just isn't for you. Maybe you need to find a different table. That's not a bad thing. It's just a thing. So those are the journeying tools, which are effectively consent, forms baked into the Wanderhome rule set, which I think is something that every game should do. Every game should have some version of this baked into their rule set. So, before we get into the game itself, we're going to talk about our characters. I printed off a little playbook for mine because I like having tangible things. I like touching things. And we're just going to go around the circle and talk a little bit about who our characters are and the choices that we made for them while we were building them. After we've all explained our characters a little bit, we're going to answer some questions about how we all met each other and how we all feel about each other. So, Aaron and Logan, if you don't already have your playbooks out where you can see them, make sure they're out. I'll go ahead and start. I chose to play the Moth Tender. For those who watched the last stream, I'm reprising my character, Kuyaweedle. So he is a coyote. He uses he, him pronouns. For the choose an animal part, I chose the persistent animal because coyotes are adaptable and persistent. They just keep going. Choose 2 your job asks you to be, and 2 you actually are. The 2 that my job asks me to be are cheerful and trusting. The 2 I actually am are calm and curious. My job, the Moth Tender, is to carry mail. I deliver mail all over the Hayfund. That's why I'm traveling. Well, part of why I'm traveling. Choose 3 to 4 to describe your look. I chose a satchel full of papers, ink-stained gloves, and a shining lantern. Choose 1 you would devote your life to protecting, and 1 that's in danger of falling apart, and tell the table about them. The 1 that I would devote my life to protecting is the ring on my finger, which is matched by my confident fiancé back home. My fiancé is a wolf named Ernan. He traveled with me when we were younger. We're both fairly old now. We're very gray around the muzzle. And he was always kind of the driving force in our adventures. He was very adventurous and confident. He always knew what to do next. He always knew how to handle everything. He took care of it no matter what. And I was always, secure in knowing that if I was with him, I was safe. And then the 1 that is in danger of falling apart is a chart of lunar phases, a going away present from my childhood best friend. This was when I went away to, learn to become a Moth Tender. My friend, I barely remember the friend, I just remember the emotion, that feeling of warmth and comfort and love that has persisted with me, and it's why, even though this chart of lunar phases is ragged and threadbare and falling apart, I always keep it with me, tucked into a pocket close to my heart. And then I have 3 letters or packages I'm carrying with me, and for each where they're going. I have a basket of homemade candies for a venerable god that dwells in the ancient forest. I know very little about this god, except that it dwells in an ancient forest. I have a letter checking in from an old friend for a wandering and miraculous wizard in exile. I know that the wizard's name is Ariel, and that he's an ocelot, or they're an ocelot. That's about all I know. And I have a lost kid I'm helping to escape a bad situation for a witchy and shrewish witch deep in the Myrmuck swamp. The lost kid's name is Fran. For those of you who watched our first Wanderhome stream, Fran was with us then too. Fran stuck around. We haven't gotten Fran to the witch yet. Fran is curious and inquisitive, tends to watch everything closely, trying to see how everything works, what's going on, but can also be kind of timid and scared because, They are a lost kid. They're leaving a bad situation. So, I tend to be very protective of Fran. The witchy and shrewish witch deep in the Myremuck Swamp is actually an old friend of mine, who Ernan and I met long time ago, probably 20, 30 years now. Her name is Achashidal, and she is a Choloitzcuintle. Fran, by the way, is a Kakomistle. These are names that you're not necessarily going to be able to spell out, but they're animals. Choloitzcuintles are better known as Cholo dogs. They are the Mexican hairless dog, if you want to Google that. And a Kakomistle is a marsupial? I don't remember. It's an animal native to Central America and Mexico. So, we'll get images of those up on the Twitter later. It'll be great. So those are my 3 packages and where they're going. And if Logan or Aaron would like to take over now and describe their character, that'd be great.
I am playing the Shepherd playbook. I use they them pronouns, and their names is James Lindsay Witherby, but you can call them Gel. They are a hawk. I chose to be reliable and young these days. I'm just not fatherly or maternal anymore. Not feeling it, not vibing with it. Yeah, is it pizza, Scotty?
It's a taco pizza from a local pizza place. It's dinner time for me, so I'm eating on stream. I love you all.
Hey.
Casey, if you come to Kansas right now, I will share with you.
But only until Scotty still has food, and then you're out of luck. So they have a bug calling whistle, and they're wearing a practical and bunched up dress, and it's sort of tied in a way that they're basically shorts at that point, like a romper almost. And then they have a plaid button down that's tied around their waist, and they also have big clunky hiking boots. I have a herd of bumblebees, and there's 5 that I can always pick out from my little herd. I have my youngest bumble. They're always underfoot. They are cheerful and raucous. My oldest, who is gray as slow, is wise and venerable. I have a bumblebee that was born with 2 heads under the full moon, so they are imaginative and witchy. My biggest bumble, who I like to ride on, even though I could easily just fly, but I'm lazy, so they are they're sturdy and mighty. And my bumble, who is remarkable in no particular way, they're still my favorite, and they're chill and quiet. I chose to keep a tall crook that reminds me of my mother to stay by my side, and I need to let go of a dried out orchid that I have pressed into my journal, my last memory of the rebellion. And I'm new, so I don't have any past adventures to tell you guys about.
On to me. Cool. All right. I am also reprising my role from the last Wanderhome one-shot we did. I'm playing Dan Tholomew, who uses he/him pronouns. He is a turtle frog, which was not an option in my playbook, which is the caretaker, but turtle frogs are cool, so I wanted to be one. I value being gentle and reflective, and I find it exhausting to be alert and expressive. For my look, I'm wearing a scratchy cloak. I have sketch covered paper, kind of like they're sticky notes because they're bits of paper, and then I like lick them and stick them on my skin so I don't forget. In just all various different places. I'll just pull out a piece of paper sometimes and be like, "Is this what you were looking for?" and put it back. I also have a sea blue canteen that just hangs on my belt next to my wind chimes. I'll get back to those. As a caretaker, I have up to 5 friends that hide in the many shrines that I carry with me. These are small and forgotten gods. I have Dulcet, a god of tiny melodies, who is dramatic and plays with my wind chimes at various dramatic moments. I have Aya, a god of a misplaced kiss, who is glamorous, and they dance around my hand. I have Wick, who's a candle god who's slightly melting on my shoulder, who is passionate and luminescent. I have Woad, a god of a mossy boulder, who lives in a giant boulder that I just carry on my head at all times. And they are resolute and mighty. And I also have a family of sapling gods who are raucous and intertwined, and they kind of have like grown into my cloak, and kind of just all hang out there. I also have one ceremonial object that I carry with me. It is a rock with a hole one in it, gifted by a strange creature with one white eye who has watched over me all my life, and I wear it on a chain. Like a leather thong around my neck.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
I don't get it.
Strange creature with one white eye. So, for those who've looked through the Wanderhome book, you'll note that a lot of playbooks have options that reference a Kith with one white eye who seems to have a lot of knowledge and wanders a lot. And that's Odin, bros. That's Odin, my dudes. It is Wednesday. I can't escape it. I can't escape Odin. Anyway, I'm done interrupting now.
Yes, but that is Dan Tholomew.
Great. Okay. So, before we get further, Mom asked where my pizza's from, and it's a local chain called Nola's Pizza. Mom will know what that is, but anybody who isn't from this area won't. So, we need to answer some questions about, how we feel about each other. I don't remember which questions Dan Tholomew and I used for each other way back when. But that's okay, we're going to use new ones because people's feelings about each other change and develop over time. And Dan Tholomew and Guiawiro have been traveling together at least long enough to, say goodbye to a couple of our friends who ended up going down a different path one of those days.
Imagine you've split up and bumped into each other again.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. So, what we're gonna do is we are going to start with Aaron. Actually, Aaron, you are going to ask one question of Logan and one question of me. They do have to be different questions from your playbook. I can't hear you, Aaron.
There we go. It was on and then I flipped it off by accident. What did you do that made me trust you with my herd?
I protected them. I guided them away from a danger that you and they had not noticed until we passed it. I intentionally moved us onto a completely different path that took us well out of our way in order to, keep you all safe.
Alright. Now, Logan, why should I trust you less than I do?
Ooh. Why should you trust me less than you do? I think, well, my connection, I guess, is largely to the small and forgotten gods that I'm caring for and those around me. So I don't have maybe as much of a vested interest in your bumbles that you think I do. Because I'm, I appear very caring for, the small and forgotten gods, but that doesn't extend necessarily to everyone.
Gotcha. Scotty, your questions. Let's go.
I'll go next. You just
Thank you.
Um. Hmm. I'll ask Aaron first.
Oh.
What do you know about the world that I don't?
Everything about Bumbles. I'm like an almanac for Bumbles. If you ask me any question, I can answer it all for you.
Excellent. Yeah. I'm into it. And Scotty, Queer Weedle, what is something I know about you that I have no right to know?
You know that I am deeply conflicted about traveling. That I want to keep traveling, but I also want to settle down with my husband, well, fiance. I don't want to be on the road, but I feel like I have to be on the road. That's what
I
you
feel
know.
like that is the question that I asked you last time, and that was the same answer. That feels nice.
Yeah, very probably. So, now it's my turn. I want to ask Logan, Dantholomew, what is it about my job that so appeals to you?
Ooh. I think your job pulls you in really interesting places. You don't really have to decide where to go. It's decided for you. Yeah, you've always got somewhere next to go. And I think that's pretty it's nice not to have to like think about it too hard.
All right. So, Gel, why did I risk my job and career to help you?
I offered royal jelly as payment. I don't know, dude. Yeah, royal jelly as payment. That's like the best stuff you can get from Bumbles.
Ooh.
I must want it for someone else. Maybe it's a gift
really
for
good.
Atashidal.
It's actually pretty medicinal, so if you want it for something like that.
Well, it's a good gift for a witch. So, the next thing we're going to do is, if I can find the page, we are building our new area. We did this last time, and we made what did we call that area, Logan? Do you remember?
Starfall Meadows.
Starfall Meadows. We made something called Starfall Meadows, which had this whole waterfall and lake and a tavern and just all kinds of things because we misread the directions. But it was fun, and we can go back to Starfall Meadows someday. That I would really like to go back to Starfall Meadows. There's still things to do there. And really, even following the directions, making a reasonably sized place, I'm sure there'll still be things for us to do when we go back. So, we are going to pick a few places from the comfortable, verdant, and liminal natures for our current location. I'm going to start. I'm going to pick a swamp.
Do we want to dive into this and explore the swamp? What the
Let's
things
go ahead
are,
and pick our words first and then start building them up.
I picked Glen, if I remember correctly.
Okay, a swamp, a glen.
I will pick a workshop.
A workshop. All right. If I can pull out the pages. Where?
So I have the very handily hyperlinked PDF.
I'm missing things. I don't think all of my pages printed. Or maybe they did, and they just printed in a weird order.
Also very close.
Where's the workshop?
What you looking for? Workshop?
I
Oh, you
found
just
the
pulling them
workshop.
out?
I'm looking for the... Yeah, I'm pulling them all out. Because I printed them all out because it's a little bit easier for me to have a physical thing to look at. So, a swamp is a place where the air is as thick as the mud. This place can always describe the heaviness of the world, show tension caused by stagnation, or bog someone down and give them a token. We need to choose 2 aesthetic elements. Our options are muck and mire, a pungent stench, a heavy fog, wriggling worms, a sinking feeling, a cunning and tricksy spirit offering to help, or the one that's available on everything, something else of your own invention.
Like a witch's house?
Well, that's going to be the folklore about the place. That's next. So if the 2 of you would like to select an aesthetic element,
I like a heavy fog.
a heavy fog.
I like wriggling worms.
Ooh.
Oh, that was such a fun feeling. The wriggling worms on the ground and the heavy fog to block where you can see them.
All right, so we've
Yep.
got a swamp.
So there are worms in this swamp that we're probably going to. Just a heads up for
Probably.
everyone.
A heavy fog and wriggling worms. All right, and the folklore about this place is, of course, the Shrewish Witch and her magic cabin. One thing that I wanted to do this week that I didn't quite have time to set up, but that hopefully I'll be able to do next week, is I want to set up so that I can sketch out the location as we're building it and have that be up like in the middle of our video feeds. So hopefully next week we'll be able to have a map while we play.
Cool. It's our swamp.
Right, that is our swamp. We need to select options for our glen. A glen is a place overflowing with creatures and bugs, alive with movement and presence. I am going to warn you right now, if you're not a fan of bugs, it's not that Wanderhome isn't for you. It's that you're gonna have a little bit of trouble with that. Bugs are like the primary livestock and companion animals in Wanderhome, since the player characters are all animals. So yeah, just be aware of that. There is, if you purchase the PDF copy of the game, there is a version of it with all of the art of bugs removed, so you don't have to look at them when you're looking through the book. So be aware of that. So yeah. So
okay,
the glen.
but Casey, when there's pillbugs invading your room and you're just trying to kill them all, it's a kind of a pain. I hate pillbugs so much.
So, the glen. This place can always describe a world teeming with life, show a conflict between wild creatures, or introduce a new buggy creature. Give someone a token if they engage with it as an equal. Now, just for the record, I probably should have mentioned this when we were building the swamp. Anytime that a trait or a nature says something can always, the options listed under that are actions that you, as the players in this world, can take for that creature or location. So, if we want to, any one of us can use the swamp to describe the heaviness of the world, show tension caused by stagnation, or bog someone down. Any one of us can use the glen to describe a world teeming with life, show a conflict between wild creatures, or introduce a new buggy creature. Those are always options for us in those locations. Our 2 aesthetic elements need to come from the options of chittering mantises, cautious pillbugs, massive beetles, watchful caterpillars, soaring dragonflies, a feral and remarkable creature that no one has seen for hundreds of years, or something else of our own invention.
I like soaring
I want
dragonflies.
I want to pick the feral and remarkable creature that no one has seen for hundreds of years.
And what will it be, Scotty?
I think it's gonna be a giant fucking dragonfly. The biggest dragonfly of them all. The elder dragonfly. So we've got soaring dragonflies, and we have a feral elder dragonfly. In our glen.
And I think either Meadow of the Lightning Dancers or Last of the Monarch Butterflies. What do you guys
For
think?
the folklore?
Yeah.
I mean, those are both fun options.
Yeah. Totally up to you.
What if the Last of the Monarch Butterflies, all the other dragonflies are like trying to court the last monarch?
I mean, that'd certainly be interesting. Some hybrid monarch butterfly dragonflies. Monarch dragonflies.
And the wings, that'd be very cool.
The wings would be so cool. I want to draw this now. I can't draw bugs.
Hi, Gorilla. Welcome to bugs.
To any and all artists who are viewing this, if you want to draw me some hybrid monarch butterflies / dragonflies, that'd be sick. I'd love that. Remarkable elder dragonfly.
Or what if it's just a giant fucking isopod as the remarkable creature? Like one of those deep sea isopods.
So are we going with the last of the monarch butterflies for our folklore for this place, Aaron?
Yes.
Okay. Last of the monarch butterflies. I am writing all of this down. It sounds like Logan is too. Because we like to take notes. Because we're nerds. Am I trying to fill the silence while we write? Yes. Our next location is the workshop. A workshop is a place where fine crafts and wares are created and given life, and where people value their ability to breathe life into art. This place can always describe the process of creation, show conflict between expectation and demand, or give someone a token if they work hard and sweat over their creation. Our aesthetic element options for the two that we're going to choose are a whirring loom, a chugging factory, a work song, an important supply line, a cunning kid too young to be working, an imaginative craft person who made one of your treasures, or something else of your own invention. You're muted, Aaron.
Sorry. A whirring loom and the never-ending tapestry is just like great aesthetic, I think.
All right.
Like put together, like it just keeps going and going and going.
Oh, so pulling the never-ending tapestry from the folklore?
Yeah, that's not a bad option. That would be a lot of fun.
My eyes lit up at the imaginative craft person who made one of your treasures, because a treasure that I have is that stone with a hole in it, which the one-eyed creature who has watched over me my whole life gave to me. So, could be an encounter.
So it's Odin. It's Odin.
It's not necessarily Odin. It could be. But it may also be that Odin got that treasure from this craftsperson.
Play to find out.
So, the whirring loom for the workshop. The imaginative craftsperson. And the never-ending tapestry. Is that what we're going with?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
Tapestry.
So what it sounds like is that this craftsperson who gave Dan his treasure is also the one making the never-ending tapestry on the loom.
Maybe. All right. Do we want to flesh out the imaginative craftsperson a little bit before we dive in?
I feel like maybe once if we get to the workshop and we're about to meet them, then we can do it
Okay.
then.
Cool.
Do we have a name
Alright.
for this area? Town?
I'm calling it the
Yes.
Miremuck Swamp, since that's where the witch lives that I'm delivering Fran to.
And so, like, the Glen and the workshop are kind of on that. Are they in the swamp? Is the whole area
Glenn's-
swampy, and then we've got like the heart of the swamp where this witch lives? Or
I feel like a glen is usually very like vibrant and verdant and green and full of life. So the glen is probably on the outer edges of the swamp. The workshop could be in the swamp or in the glen, either one. And then
But
of
it
course
makes sense
the swamp.
because there's lots of nutrients in the swamps, so the surrounding area would be able to feed off of that pretty well to be verdant.
So frankly, it could be there's this swamp in the middle, and in the middle of the swamp is the witch's house, and then around the swamp is this glen that encircles it.
Where's the workshop in all of this?
In one of those areas. What do y'all think?
I think I'd like it to be somewhere in the swamp,
Somewhere in
Yeah.
the swamp? Somewhere we have to
Probably,
stop
like,
and get directions?
on the edges.
Yeah.
Because the swamp is impossible to navigate, probably, since a witch lives in the center of it. She doesn't want just anyone to be able to find her.
No, she doesn't want to get bothered constantly.
Even by old friends.
She's a homebody.
She's allowed to be a homebody. She's a powerful witch. I don't think we can argue with her.
We can try.
I don't think we
Is
should.
Miremuck 1 or 2 words, Scotty?
It's one word. Alright. So,
Thank you,
We've
Lizzie, for
reached-
gifting sub.
we've reached the edge of the glen. What's behind us is a road that maybe has led us here from a little farming village where Dantholomew and Queeweedle met Jell. And now we are traveling through this glen. Queeweedle is very determined to finally get in here and have Fran settled down somewhere safe where they can learn to be themselves and flourish. So Queeweedle is very quiet and very determined right now.
I imagine Dulcet is kind of swaying in the breeze and playing the wind chimes.
I think,
Lightly.
did you end up explaining Dulcet? I don't remember.
Yeah, briefly. Dulcet is my tiny god of
Yeah.
melodies, who's dramatic and plays my wind chimes. And sometimes the sounds that come out of those wind chimes
Are
shouldn't
not
come out of wind
chime
chimes, but
sounds?
you know, it's Dulcet.
So,
They do what they want.
I think it's probably still fairly early in the morning. There is probably mist leaking out of the swamp into the glen, and light playing on the mist in interesting ways. And it's, those dawn oranges are happening, that corally orange is happening on the, horizon, at either edge of the swamp, basically. And the dragonflies that inhabit this glen a few of them are just beginning to wake up, just beginning to get moving around. So we're just beginning to see some soaring dragonflies take off, that early morning sunlight playing on their, colorful exoskeletons and shining blue and red and purple and all of those vibrant colors that dragonflies have.
I have a couple of questions. My first one is, how does Fran react to the fireflies? What do they think?
Fran, being the quiet and watchful sort, is watching them very intently, but is not sure what to make of them. This may be their first time seeing so many dragonflies so large.
Second question, what's the witch's name again, and how much has Queerweedle told us about her?
The witch's name is Axochitl, which is spelled Axochitle. And probably about all Queerweedle has mentioned so far is that Axochitl is an old friend, and that Axochitl is who Fran is going to be staying with. And
So
that
you've not.
she lives somewhere in this swamp.
Okay.
But he probably has not disclosed that she is a witch. That is probably not something he feels is his story to tell.
I imagine my youngest Bumble is excitedly going up to the dragonflies who are starting to emerge and soar. And as they are wont to do, get underfoot.
So how's Dantholomew feeling and
Um,
reacting to the dragonflies and the morning?
I think he's well pleased. It's like, this is very nice. Look at those dragonflies go. Enjoying the sounds and keeping an eye out on the light that's playing out over the mist. He finds that rather entrancing. And yeah, I think he's keeping an eye on Wick, which is his candle god. It's melting on his shoulder, and just trying to notice if Wick is reacting in any way to the light. You know, just trying to keep tabs on all the little gods that he's taking care of. Yeah. Dulcet's playing a nice little tune as they continue on.
Gel, as they see their youngest be a general nuisance to the wild bugs, starts blowing on their whistle and flying over to try to get them to come back with the rest of the herd.
In fact, this is a good moment of the Glen showing a conflict between wild creatures. I'm wondering, how well does that bug whistle work?
Well, it's a bug whistle specifically for bumblebees, but I don't know how a dragonfly would react to it. I know that dragonflies love sound of any kind, so it might get their attention as well.
I bet it is. I bet we're rousing the rest of the dragonflies with this, and they're all going to take off in a flurry of motion into the air and kick up flower petals and dandelion puffs and leaves into the air as well.
Bartholomew just kind of like stands like this and feels all the little petals. Just gonna really feel the
gonna very
sensations.
yeah. Queerweedle's going to very grumpily wipe dandelion puffs out of his fur. He's not so stoked about the dandelion puffs, thanks.
What about Fran?
Fran is just excitable enough to start trying to catch leaves and flower petals and go hopping through the glen a little bit. Queerweedle is quietly, stoically keeping a close eye on Fran.
Do you think any of them come near to inspect the sound to me, guys?
I was thinking, yeah, a fair few would swarm around you. Like I don't know how long you blow the initial whistle, but some that are closer probably come over and like that rouses everyone, but only like the first, like hear that first note. I reckon they would come towards you.
So, Gel, seeing how excited Fran looks, I'm gonna try and coax one or two of the dragonflies over to meet Fran. And like
Um,
do basic husbandry of these dragonflies to make sure nothing bad happens.
kind of teaching Fran how to gently reach out and pat a carapace.
Yeah.
Solid, solid, solid. Yeah, I think Fran would find that very exciting and fun and interesting and nerve-wracking at the same time because it's something new and Fran's still kind of an anxious little critter. They're going to very quietly say something like, "This is really cool."
If you get right here and they get on the carapace right where not the carapace. Well, yeah, the carapace right behind their head where their next part of their body meets. They really like this area, and they start scratching there.
Fran is going to mimic you. They're doing their best. They're trying to learn. They're very interested in learning as much as they can.
I think that counts as James Lindsay Witherby. As I would like to say that Dan Tholomew says the entire name every single time, having an appreciation for long names. As
Y'all just
James
hate me.
Lindsay Witherby does. I think this counts as doing something kind without getting anything in return, and I reckon Aaron, you should take a token for that.
So Aaron has a token. I don't currently have a way to display everyone's tokens on the stream. We'll figure that out eventually, hopefully by next week, but I can't promise anything.
Can we explain what tokens do real quick?
So tokens are something that you can receive when you do some things. Some of them depend on your playbook. Others of them are for everyone, if I remember correctly. And so you get a token whenever you inconvenience yourself to help someone else, whenever you give away something you hold dear, whenever you pause for a moment and get some rest, whenever you leave an offering to a small or forgotten god, whenever you speak your true feelings on a subject, whenever you take a moment to bask in the grandeur of the world and describe it to the table, whenever you take a moment to watch a tiny moment of beauty and describe it to the table, or whenever you take a moment to marvel at something no one has ever seen before and ask the table to describe it. So those are the ways that any of us can receive a token at any point. And any of us can spend a token in order to provide a solution for an aspect of a material or immediate problem, to ease someone's pain, if only for a moment, to keep someone safe from the difficulties of the world, to offer someone the chance to connect with you on a personal level, to find what someone needs to give them a chance to change fundamentally, to reveal something hidden about the person in front of you and ask them what it is, to know something important about the place you're in and tell the table about it, or to listen to the shared wisdom of the many small and forgotten gods and ask the table what they tell you. I, as the moth tender, can also potentially give someone else a token if I say, "I have a letter for you," and they accept.
I can give someone else a token if I ask, "Can you hear that?" And they get a token if they really try.
I may get a token whenever I walk away from everyone else to spend some time alone with my herd. And I can spend a token to procure or provide honey, wool, pollen, or other gifts for my herd, like that royal jelly that I promised.
All right. So, here's the thing. What am I helping you do that you're giving me the royal jelly for? I feel like I should have asked that earlier, but I kind of didn't think about asking it earlier.
Keeping me company, because I feel like I'm going crazy just talking to my bumbles.
Okay, so you're paying me royal jelly in compensation for spending time with you.
Yes.
All right. So, Queeweedle, after a few moments of everyone watching the dragonflies, is going to. we should probably get moving. I'm not sure where we need to go. So it could take a while.
I've not been
Little
in
one,
the
do you want
swamp
to
for a
ride on one of
while.
my bumbles?
I don't think they could carry me, but I appreciate the offer.
I prefer to keep my feet on solid ground.
I'm speaking to neither of you two. The little one.
Oh.
Fran is going to kind of nervously shuffle their feet and then, mimicking Queeweedle, because they've been with Queeweedle for a good long while now, they're going to say, I prefer to keep my feet on solid ground.
Well, if you ever change your mind, Giant here is more than able to keep you up. And I just point towards the largest bumblebee you've ever seen.
Okay.
It's like as big as me. They're friendly, don't fret.
Queeweedle is going to just kind of nod and say, well, it's been many years since I've been here, but the swamp's known to change, so even if I knew the path once, I don't anymore. I can guarantee you that.
Do you have a plan on how to find the path once we enter the swamp?
Hope for the best. Pray to the small gods. Or any big gods that are there. Hopefully
Can I
they'll
continue
see
going
the
on?
need and we'll find our way.
Does your friend know that we're coming?
Maybe. Maybe.
Maybe?
Maybe. I didn't send word
Maybe.
ahead because I mean, I can't. I'm not sure any other moth tender would know how to get to her either. But she still might know.
So do you have any idea where we should start to go in?
Nope. We should just take a good look around, I guess. There might be a path, there might not.
And as a side note, I'd like to say that Dulcet has captured the sound of the bumble whistle to the best of their ability. And is storing it for later. We
And
continue through the glen.
I'm gonna look at my oldest bumble, and I'm gonna hold them like this, look straight into their eyes, like, do you know where the witch is? Or where they are, where his friend is, not the witch, because I don't know their witch. Do you know where they are?
How do your bumbles communicate?
They buzz. But my oldest bumble is very wise. And, where did I go? It may propose a path, unlike those that others have suggested. So I think it would start buzzing in a general direction until we see a structure in the distance.
What kind of structure? Are we thinking
almost
tall like a tower, like a spindly tower, or flat and squat, or?
I think almost cottage-like. Homey. It's got plants crawling all over it with vines and such.
Lots of fun flowers.
Because it's bumblebee, it wants lots of flowers. Very fragrant.
Sapling gods get very excited.
Did you know anyone else who lived near your friend's house?
I can't say there were any permanent settlements around. I don't know if anyone else settled nearby or not. Back when I was traveling out here, she was the only one in the swamp. Got a little lost. She helped me.
That sounds like a nice friend.
She's... I won't say she's nice, but she's kind. They're two
Yes.
different things.
Nice people are not always good people, nor kind people.
She may be a little bit curt sometimes, but she tries to do what's best for everyone.
Well, maybe they can help us find our way. So I'm gonna
Hopefully.
knock on the door. Knock, knock, knock.
Is this... Are we thinking this is the workshop?
I think so.
So, we've got an imaginative crafts person.
Shall we create them a little bit more?
I think we're gonna need to create them a little bit more. I think it's time. So, real quick, for the record, an imaginative kith's head is always up in the clouds. They are often artists, glaziers, and dreamers, among others. They can do 1 to 2 of the following things, always. They can always explain away things could be better, forget about something really important, or describe an everyday object in a way no one's ever thought about it before. So, just like with the natures for the land we're in, these traits for the other animals and kiths that are in the area are things that we can do to control them and shape the story more. Any one of us at any time can take over any one of these kiths, and Aaron and Logan could take over Fran if they wanted to. I just made Fran. To do any of the things that are associated with their traits. So, what do we want this kith to look like? What kind of animal are they?
Sheep.
A sheep?
A sheep.
Fluffy, woolly sheep?
Fluffy, woolly sheep.
Alright. So we've got an
With
imaginative
black sheep.
An imaginative black sheep. Alright. What kind of artist are they? We're thinking... I'm leaning toward a glassblower.
I imagine they've dipped their hoof in lots of different trades, but maybe currently they're a
Probably.
glassblower.
That's what
Don't
they're
they have
doing
a
right
loom,
now.
though?
There is a loom there, but that doesn't mean it's the only craft that has to be there.
Hmm.
Nor does it mean that they're necessarily the one person tending that loom.
I like the idea of a glassblower and having little, having maybe some of the plants are in little glass terrariums that
Yeah.
are hanging up around the place, and others are like empty and hollow and pinging off each other.
And probably, like Logan said, they've probably dabbled in a lot of things, because I cannot imagine an imaginative kith sticking to just one craft. That sounds silly. So I'm sure they've got all kinds of metal work and masonry and woodworking and all kinds of things
Woodcraft.
happening in there. And textile arts. Alright, so we have an imaginative sheep who is currently mostly dabbling in glass blowing. And I imagine they're going to answer the door and probably kind of spacily say, "Oh, I wasn't expecting guests. Hello. Come on in."
Oh, thank you. Is my herd all right to stay outside?
Oh, they're welcome. I don't have a herd to eat the grass. Someone's got to.
Oh, I don't think they'll eat grass.
Well, the nectar then. They're flowers.
This is a really cool place you got. I don't think I've ever seen glass like this before.
I've worked really hard on this. It's a lot of work that goes into making colorful glass, and I didn't realize how hard it was going to be, but it's also a lot of fun, and everything's really pretty. And I feel like I feel like inside they've probably replaced the windows, or not necessarily replaced the windows with colored glass, but they have hung glass trinkets and baubles over all the windows so that as the light comes in, it casts those colors all over the workshop. So the workshop is just this slightly dusty, um, you know, incredibly colorful and vibrant and light and homey and welcoming place. Um, and I imagine there's probably a ladder up to a loft, which is where this craftsperson actually resides. And you get to see these motes of dust floating through these colorful beams of light and catching them and lighting up almost like little fireflies.
We seem to have lost our way a bit. Would you be
Or
able to give
never
some
had a way in the
directions?
first place.
Yes. Would you be able to give us some directions?
If either one of you wants to take over, you're
I can
welcome
take over.
to. I don't want to be the only
Sure.
one talking and controlling every kith.
Yeah, I was about to, but yeah, making eyes. All right, cool. I will take over, but I want to give Scotty a token for describing the beautiful light play in this lovely, beautiful workshop.
Thank you. I will take a token.
And so the question was, can you give us directions? And I like to imagine one of the traits that he has, that they have as being imaginative, is that they can forget very important things. But nonetheless, they will say, yes, where would you like to go?
Do you know the witch that lives in the swamp?
Witch that lives in the swamp. I mean, it sounds familiar. The witch with the magic cabin, or was it the magic?
The witch with the magic cabin.
She lives in the middle of the swamp, right?
Last I knew, it was the middle. She might have moved it.
It sounds like you've got directions already.
Oh no, we don't.
The middle. That sounds like a direction.
But where is the middle?
It would be if it weren't her swamp. Have you ever been into her swamp?
Not very deep, I don't think.
That'd be it then. No, I think that the swamp, either the swamp moves or the swamp makes you think it moves.
Does it move the glen with it? My workshop is right on the border here.
I don't mean that it moves around the world. I mean that little pockets of space in the swamp shift into different locations in the swamp.
So you're saying you could enter at one place and continue walking in a straight line, but in fact...
And then exit in the same place.
How do you think that would affect anything that's flying above it?
I couldn't tell you. It's got all kinds of trees. Those, what are they, mangroves? And it's hard to see anything down in the swamp.
You could see where the middle is.
Maybe.
I know you said that you prefer to keep your feet on the ground, but maybe we could go from the up high and see what's below.
I don't know about that. You're welcome to take a look if you want, but I don't really want to get up into the air. I'd rather walk. If I get lost, I get lost.
Bartholomew is still sort of standing outside the door because he's quite tall and he's got a giant boulder on his head that makes it hard for him to enter, and he's just gonna like squat down a little bit, like, yeah, I don't know how easy it would be for me to get in the air either.
I mean, you could ride my bumble.
How strong is this bumble?
Oh, this bumble is the strongest. You'll never meet a sturdier bumble.
Hmm. And I kind of like look up at Wode, who's the boulder on my head.
You can turn around and see the bumble, who is literally just so huge, like a big fat chunky
Big
bumble.
chunky.
The
And
massivest
yeah,
bumble.
Bartholomew looks up and just kind of like is asking a question like silently to the small forgotten god, like, how are you feeling about this? And he's gonna stand there for a moment.
I'm gonna, like, Queeweedle, I'm gonna look at the others and say, he does this sometimes. Just give him a second.
As the artist, the craftsman, you like it? Is he okay?
He's talking to someone.
Are you sure? Does he need something?
It's his story to tell.
And then he sort of stands up again and says, I think Wode could be persuaded. It wasn't really me. I think it was these folks. They're pretty excited about flying.
It's really exciting. I can fly right beside you, and if anything happens, I can catch you.
Could you be persuaded, Queeweedle?
I don't know about that.
It could get Fran to where they need to go quicker.
It could, but I'm not a fan of being in the air.
With your permission, Scotty, I can spend a token to change Queeweedle fundamentally for this next scene.
You're gonna change Queeweedle's stubbornness.
For a short period of time, at least.
Okay. Sure. You can
This
do
is
that.
the easiest way to get to the witch. Least likely to get lost, Queeweedle. Please.
I think the way that probably works is probably Fran is going to grab Queeweedle's, like, jacket and tug on it and say, I'd really like to get somewhere that I can just stop for a while. And Queeweedle's gonna kind of crack. You're gonna see an emotion cross his face for about a half a second, and he's gonna clear his throat. All right, fine, let's go.
As they kind of start heading out, yeah, like obviously Dan Tholomy's kind of blocking the door, so he's going to move to the side. And as Queeweedle passes, he's just going to lock eyes and sort of say, without saying anything, like, I saw that emotion, and like trying to hold you in that. Yeah, saw that, and that was okay.
As we leave this craftsman's house, I'm gonna turn and say, thank you for your help. Let me know if you need anyone to pollinate your flowers.
I imagine this sheep is just gonna be like, well, it was nice to meet you all. Bye.
Have a nice day.
Like the jingling of all the glass bulbs as we exit.
And now for biggest bumble, BB, big chunky boy. Get on, y'all.
Boy howdy.
Dan Tholomew is going to pause again, like he does, and just sort of look down at his wind chimes, having another conversation, and is asking Dulcet to draw the dragonflies near again, so that Frank can ride a dragonfly if they want to, because they seemed pretty taken with them. Does it work?
I mean,
I imagine it would have them come here, but these are feral dragonflies. We're gonna have an issue.
the dragonflies are wild, not necessarily feral.
The giant one is
The
feral.
big one's feral.
Are you saying that I accidentally summoned that?
Yes.
So it is Dulcet.
Right. So I have this idea, okay? I have this idea for the feral dragonfly. The massive feral dragonfly that has not been seen in however long it was.
Hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years. You feel it almost feels like an earthquake, but the ground isn't moving. It's just everything else is moving. The air is moving, the trees are moving, the grass is rustling, everything's moving. And from out of this swamp, you hear this droning sound that sounds almost like dragonfly wings, almost like bumblebee wings. It's just louder and bigger. And you see, slowly but surely, and probably actually very fast, not slowly at all, burst out of the trees this massive, just absolutely fucking giant red dragonfly. And as the light shimmers on it, it sort of shifts more purpley red, and then more pink red, and then a little bit orange red, and it comes swooping out over us, low enough that its feet almost like knock woad off of your head. And it's been drawn by the sound, and it swoops back up and around the swamp, and like this massive dragonfly is now just circling over us, the wind absolutely buffeting us back and forth and around.
I don't know nothing about that, Bartholomew.
One could carry all of us.
I don't think he's gonna want to.
Have you asked?
Well, no, I haven't asked, but
I'll ask.
Alright.
How am I gonna do that?
I'm gonna go look for the feral trait.
Yeah, what does the feral trait do, Sky?
Yeah, like that. Yeah, good.
I feel like we need to know that.
Yeah.
While you decide what you're how you're gonna ask it to carry us.
I'm going to stare at my hand for a while, and where Aya, the god of a misplaced kiss, dances, and gonna let Dulcet do their thing. They're having a great time. And when the giant dragonfly comes back around, I'm going to reach up a hand and try and touch one of their feet and let Aya kind of do the talking for me. I'm trying to, I'm giving a sense of, I guess, Bartholomew's feelings of like awe and wonder, and yeah, a sense of like, you can do something that we can't. It would be really nice if you helped us.
All right. So real quick, the feral kith rejects traditional society and embraces monstrosity. They are often fearsome insects, hungry gods, and kids raised by the wilderness itself, among others. Of the choose one to do they can always do is call out to the wild and hear it respond, ask what's stopping you, or show all your teeth and bite. If someone doesn't want to get bit, they're going to need to spend a token.
I'm
so
hearing that
I
Bartholomew
think
gets bit.
I think when you reach up and touch this dragonfly and ask for its help, he's going to respond, "What's stopping you?" As he swoops away and back around.
What's stopping me from flying? and
I
Dan
think what's
Bartholomew gets
stopping you
very
from
pensive.
flying is sitting on B3 here.
I think Dan Bartholomew gets a bit like pensive about it and like a bit philosophical. I'm like, what is stopping me from flying? Why can I not fly? Sure, I don't have wings. But there are other things that don't have wings that can like glide and fly for short periods of time. And he's just kind of standing there, like looking up and like eyes following the dragonfly as it's going around. Just kind of thinking.
Queeweedle is going to think for a hot second. He's going to take a breath. And he is going to let his curious nature get the better of him finally. And he's going to scoop Fran up into one arm. He's going to gently shake Dantholomew out of this pensive state, and he's going to say, grab a leg next time it comes by.
Okay.
And the dragonfly swoops away and back around. And Queeweedle jumps and tries to grab a leg.
I'm going to say anyone who wants to jump on, this is my vibe, but anyone who wants to jump on, like you will jump on, but you need to spend a token not to like, get like bit or harmed in the process. I reckon.
I'm just gonna fly. I can fly by myself.
Yeah. I am going to spend that token so that I can grab onto one of these feet.
I'm gonna get bit, and Dantholomew's going to it's gonna lose some or most of his hand, and the dragonfly is going to swallow the god of a misplaced kiss, and I would like to explore that maybe in some future episode what happens. I'm gonna write down that this dragonfly
has swallowed a god.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Does Dantholomew begin to fall?
I think I get on, but I'm just
damaged.
Yes, hurt and like
slightly damaged.
Quite out of it, so I probably won't be able to help like try and guide the dragonfly or anything like that. They'll be like Queeweedle's now kind of in charge here.
Yeah.
So in this cavalcade of giant dragonfly and a herd of bumbles following behind it, I imagine that would get lots of attention from the other.
I also imagine that, I mean, you and your bumbles are significantly smaller than this dragonfly and its massive wings. I imagine that it's not exactly easy to control how you're flying right now.
No, it is hard, but I am pushing through. I have dealt with worse winds than this. My bumbles are awful at directions, so I'm just keeping them going in a straight line, basically. And it looks like from below, it would look like it has like a trail behind it. It's like a cavalcade of all these bumbles following behind. And I imagine that would catch the inquisitive attention of a certain butterfly.
Ooh.
The last of the monarch butterflies.
Yes, that was very loud thunder.
So
can y'all hear?
No.
It was very loud. It felt
so
the house rumble.
With the
that was the dragonfly going.
Yeah.
With the wind. Where? There it is. With the wind. Just kicking everything up more than it had when the dragonflies first burst out of the ground at the Bumble Call. I mean, Queeweedle isn't usually up above everything. He's never really looked down at the world like this before. The like 1 or 2 times that Ernan managed to convince him to catch a ride on, a tamed hopper or something. he kept his eyes closed the entire time, clinging to Ernan, not wanting to look down at the world below him. But this time, clutching Fran tight in his arm so that he does not drop this child, he's going to actually look down and probably marvel at the beauty of this, event with this butterfly, the last of the monarch butterflies appearing. And I would like to give you guys a chance to describe one of these scenes, since I've been describing most of the scenes so far.
I think that it had hidden itself away in a hollow of one of the trees in the swamp, and as it emerges from the hollow, its wings unfurl beautifully and magnificently, its black, white, and orange colors bright and attracting the attention of the giant dragonfly. um and as the the butterfly starts to flap its wings and unfurls it and fly up and up, the dragonfly starts to circle around it.
In like a dance.
Yeah.
Um, Logan, do you want to try and describe the dance?
Okay. So yeah, Aaron said they're kind of circling around each other at quite a speed. I'm imagining the monarch butterfly is also quite large. That's just how my brain interpreted it.
Yeah, that's how I'm thinking of it too.
Yeah.
Quite a large monarch butterfly, not quite as large as this dragonfly maybe, but comparable.
Like
and
the body is a lot smaller, but its wings give it like more size to it.
Yeah, totally. And as we're sort of rising above the swamp, the sun is coming through and like bouncing off the dragonfly's carapace, and some of it's bleeding through the very thin wings of the monarch butterfly. So there's you have to be pretty close to see, but like there's a small light show going up ahead, and I'm imagining the smaller dragonflies and the bumblebees, are all around that as well. It's like this big, it's like a dance floor in the air with the monarch butterfly and the giant dragonfly leading the charge. And what's more, the dragonfly has swallowed Aya, who is a glamorous small forgotten god, which means they have an enchanting appearance that is both beautiful and impossible. So I'm seeing that as Aya kind of is digested or moves through the dragonfly, like new radiance shines out down the dragonfly's body, these glowing and extra colors.
Is Aya perhaps fusing with the dragonfly? Are Aya and the dragonfly becoming one being? Is this dragonfly becoming this god?
Ooh, I definitely think there's like a symbiosis happening. Like it's not like Aya's being overpowered or anything. Yeah, I reckon there's some sort
they're becoming one thing.
Yeah. Yeah, or Aya's taking on a new form, or they're cohabitating now, or something like that. I imagine that Aya could probably leave at any time, but they've traveled with Anthony for a while, and maybe they want to travel in a new way. And so something that glamorous kids can always do is dazzle and stun everyone who beholds them. And so I imagine, this can sort of describe how your own characters are reacting. But I imagine Dan Bartholomew's it was feeling quite a bit woozy, but now it's just kind of awestruck about, the honor of being part of this big show of like the massive forces of nature. And I like to think as the glamour and the feralness come together that they kind of level each other out and coexist, so that the dragonfly isn't aggressive towards the monarch butterfly, and they just kind of encircle in this dance together. And as I is the god of a misplaced kiss, I'd like to think that the dragonfly and the monarch butterfly regard each other fondly.
This dragonfly and butterfly are gay, y'all.
Yes.
You know, it would be our luck if just right here, like off to the side somewhere, that's where your friend's house it is. If we land.
Either that or your friend comes out and is like, what the heck is happening? What is going on? Or something.
I mean, honestly,
How would they react?
I can imagine something like this catching a witch's attention and drawing her out of her hut.
I mean, one of the things I can always do is make an offhand observation that turns out to be correct.
Make an offhand observation that turns out to be correct. Yeah. I imagine that probably, I don't know if we can see her because, again, tree cover over the swamp. But yeah, probably Ashashidal has stepped out of her hut and
It's like,
her
what the
cabin and
is
climbed
going on?
up onto the roof, into the trees, somewhere up there to see what's happening. Because
And I imagine the bumbles
she's
are
lived
like,
in this swamp for years and never seen this.
and not the bumbles aren't like swarming, but they're like dancing. How like in romance scenes in movies, there's like fireflies around the couple in like a scene.
Yeah.
She's like, what sort of romantic bullshit is this?
Queeweedle's going to say, okay, how do we get down?
I'd like to
I
take a
start
token
burying-
for my dance.
You should take a
If that's
token for
okay.
your dance, yes.
Can I take a token for my butterfly emerging?
You should take a token for your butterfly emerging.
Yeah, what kind of
Oh,
fucking
no.
Disney montage?
I'm gonna take a token for taking a moment to marvel at this all happening and the two of you describing it. So we all get a token for this beautiful scene that we've built.
Beautiful
I
gable.
give my B3 boy, so B4 then, big bumble boy, to slowly ferry you guys down one by one. I can hold her in myself,
Yeah,
probably.
Queeweedle's going to say, take Dantholomew first. Because Dantholomew needs to see the witch immediately. That injury is not going to be great.
Yeah, the
Dantholomew
Butterfree and
will
the
not
Yanma
happen.
are getting it together, Gorilla.
Anyway, so Dantholomew, when Gel's Bumble brings you down below the surface of the trees,
They're
you know,
Gigantamaxed.
yeah, you're kind of woozy, of course, but you do probably notice this this Cholo dog dressed in, you know, dark browns and greens, the kind of clothes one would wear to blend in with the swamp, watching as you descend. And you'll probably see them just kind of hop down from the tree, and they come running up to you, and before they even ask you anything, they are going to grab your arm and shove it directly into the swamp goo. Because
That just happened.
with their witchy trait, they can always mix things together to make something new. So you're getting a swamp goo hand. To replace the hand that was eaten by the giant dragonfly. And it's probably going to take a little bit, but you'll get a swamp goo hand. What's up, Aaron?
Is it like gooey or is it like wooden or?
I imagine it's probably going to be.
The real dog body.
It's probably not going to be gooey, exactly, but it's going to be like the inside of it is mush and the outside is twigs and leaves melded together into a, dry covering so that it can still move, and it's distinctly magic that's connected it. Um, so it's effectively a magic prosthetic. It's not going to have quite the same flexibility as the hand Dantholomew had before, but it will, like, one, it keeps Dantholomew from bleeding out, and two, it does give Dantholomew something to be able to hold things, grab things, continue to interact with the gods with both of his hands.
He's just going to assume that this person knows what they're doing and just going to like squat with his hand in the swamp and just kind of be looking around and kind of, looking up. I think he's still quite entranced by the dance. It's just kind of looking up and watching that.
I'm gonna go and grab the rest of our party, our traveling crew.
Yeah.
Holding Fran myself.
Queerweedle is not letting go of Fran. Queerweedle is holding on to Fran as tightly as he can without hurting Fran.
Okay, then you're on Big Bumble Boy.
Yeah. You're not going to be able to get Fran away from Queerweedle until they're both back on the ground. When we land, Queerweedle is going to very carefully set Fran down and then get on the ground and then just kind of slump to sitting down in the swamp muck. He's going to say, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have agreed to that. I should have just walked.
Then you would have missed the dance.
Yeah. And this is a once-in-a-lifetime event. Or more than a lifetime.
I might have been fine with that. And Achashidal is going to turn and regard Gel, Fran, and Queerweedle and say, I was wondering when you were all going to get here. I wasn't expecting you to lose a hand, she's going to say when she looks back at Dantholomew.
Oh, I thought you said that we weren't expected.
Queerweedle's going to say, yeah, but I also said she might know anyway.
It's nice to meet you. I'm James Lindsay Witherby, and this is my herd.
Well, I don't have much food for your herd here, but they're welcome to rest.
We just met a nice old craftsman, and he had so many flowers. They're fine.
Oh, my neighbor. I forgot that they were out there.
So did they, to be fair. So I think you're even.
I think both that they were there and that you were here. They seemed the forgetful type.
That happens sometimes. It's rare to have a new neighbor out here. I'm not sure how long they've been there. I'm not sure if they're new anymore. Anyway, what are you all doing in my swamp?
What are you doing in my swamp?
In my swamp!
You walked it down, Scotty.
You did it!
Damn it! Fuck y'all.
I just stare at you. Because you're and Fran that's the entire reason we're here.
Queerweedle is going to clear his throat and say, I've got a favor to ask you. I know I already owe you about 3 favors, but this is real important. And he's gonna kind of gently push Fran forward.
You want me to take this youngster?
They need a new home. Their old one wasn't great. So I promised them I'd help them get to a better place, and you were the first person I thought of.
Well, it's not the best place for a youngster to grow up, But I won't say that they won't learn nothing here.
I'm not expecting them not to learn anything. I'm expecting them to learn a lot. And I think they'll enjoy learning it too.
Well, I'll
Your
never
friend
deny
was-
someone who wants to learn.
Yeah, when Fran hears about learning a lot, they kind of get a little bit excited. And do they have like a notebook or something, or a journal? Like
Probably, yeah. They've probably been scribbling down anything they can from, traveling.
I imagine they like kind of pull it out and they've got it in front of them, like
While
ready
the
to
dance
write
was
anything
happening, they
down.
were like trying to sketch it as it kept moving.
And Queerwood is like, "Put your hands on the dragonfly, don't let go."
Don't take your hands off.
Keep your hands inside the vehicle at all times.
Inside the dragonfly at all times. I mean, that's what Dan Follow-Me did.
Well, you're not wrong.
It worked out well though. So.
Um,
I feel like Fran is like, they're like excited, but also like they've traveled with Queer Weedle so long that they still feel that kind of connection there, and they want some sort of closure.
I'm going to kneel down next to them. And I'm going to take their journal. And I am going to write something down on a piece of paper, which is something I can always do. And what I'm writing down on a piece of paper is rough directions to the house where my fiance lives and where I will eventually return. And I'm going to say, you're going to be safe here. You're going to be happy here. You're going to work hard here, and you're going to learn a lot. But when you're ready to strike out on your own, and I mean a good decade from now, when you have skills under your belt to keep yourself safe, when you're ready to strike out on your own, you'll know where to find me. And in letting go of Fran, Queerweedle is inconveniencing himself for Fran's own benefit. Because he doesn't want to say goodbye to Fran. He'd honestly kind of like to take Fran home with him. But this is a better place for Fran. So if y'all are cool with it, I'm going to take a token because I just inconvenienced myself to help Fran.
I felt you also gave away your personal address, which is something that you hold dear, depending on how you interpret that one.
That's true. I'm probably only going to take one token for it since it was the same act. I feel like taking two would be too much.
I imagine the witch places both of her hands on Fran's shoulder and says, "Come on, young one, let's get you settled inside." She turns back in to her hut, cabin.
I feel like I've got this image in my head that it is a cabin that's built into the trunk of a massive tree. Because I like tree buildings.
Who doesn't? There's nothing. It's so aesthetic. Giant tree buildings.
It's good. It's just good. It's good.
I think Fran like reads over the address that you give them a couple of times and nods sort of very seriously, and goes to the back of their journal and writes down also the address of this hut, and like looking around for like landmarks, like, okay, big tree
that are immediately like gonna change in a day.
Yeah.
And like looks like this underneath the dragonfly and monarch butterfly dance, and rips that out and gives it to you.
I am going to fold it up, and I am going to tuck it in a little pocket next to my heart in the same place that I keep my lunar chart.
And they sort of hold their book to their chest and nod very seriously, and then kind of soften for a moment, and then run in after the witch.
You're running in after the witch?
To the cabin? Did they go to the cabin already? Yeah.
Yeah, Fran is going in. This is where Fran is staying.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Is Dan also staying?
And he's just kind of squatting, waiting for his hand to reform. And pulls it out every now and then. It's like, oh, no, finger's still growing.
um, and
Dulcet has been playing, like sad wind chimes in the background as goodbye music.
Queelwheel does
Dantholome's
not
kind of like a little
appreciate
bit-
the sad music. He doesn't
Yeah,
need the sad
Dantholome's
music.
like, sorry with his eyes.
Cheek.
They're dramatic. They
So, so yeah. We can chill out for a while. Take a moment to rest.
including
think-
the players because I need to go to the
Yeah.
toilet.
Yeah, we should probably take a quick break, actually. Quick 5 to 10 minute break, and we'll be right back with some more Wanderhome while we figure out what we're going to do next. See y'all soon. I should have pulled up the thing to let OBS load our videos back in.
It did.
But we're here now. So we're back to play a little bit more Wanderhome. We're probably not gonna play for a whole lot longer, maybe another half an hour or so. Then we're gonna see about raiding someone. So stick around. So Fran has just gone into Achishiro's hut. After Achishiro gave Dantholomew a new hand, and Quioidal is feeling particularly emotional.
I'm gonna lean against one of the trees and take a break. Just rest for a bit. I did a lot of flying there, guys.
Yeah, we can all pause for a moment and get some rest. Which is the thing we all get a token for if we do this. So we can all gain a token.
Dantholomew will take word off his head and lay them down beside him and use word as a pillow. The nice mossy top. And it's quite large. Someone with another head could probably lie on word if they wanted to. Dantholomew himself is also nice and squishy.
But everything I think is calm-ish inside the swamp. It's a lot harder for wind to get through trees. So we hear the rustling in the treetops, and we hear the distant sounds of rustling from the glen on the other side. Well, that was weird. Sorry, my computer did something odd. Anyway, Fleur is running around under the blankets. So I'm sure that we hear the sounds of wind, and I'm sure that if we look up and we see breaks in the canopy above us, we see the dragonfly and the butterfly circling above us a bit still. But probably in the swamp itself, it's pretty calm and quiet. Well, quiet-ish. I'm sure there are the sounds of crickets
flapping.
And I'm sure there are the sounds of crickets and other swamp critters around.
Mm-hmm. It's teeming with life, but like not in a way that like we can't team with it.
Yeah.
And Dantholomew's kind of lying there. So Dantholomew's like lying down just wherever the witch shoved his hand in the goop.
Yeah.
And James Lindsay Witherby is leaning up against a tree. Where's Quioidal?
Quioidal is probably still sitting in the muck wherever he landed when he got off the bumble. He's staying there.
And Dantholomew is kind of lying on woad, eyes looking up at the dance that's still happening above, and sort of going between the dance and like his hand, which is now fully formed. Like it's sort of this dark green goop, but mostly covered in twigs and vines and things to contain it. And some of the twigs kind of like they move around a little bit as filling in the gaps and things. Dantholomew's like looking between the two, and sort of says to anyone and no one, goodbyes are painful.
Quioidal isn't going to say anything, but he is going to very audibly sigh.
When there's holes, you can fill them with new things.
Sometimes.
Probably not the same, but different is okay. Might take a while to get used to.
After a few more minutes, Quiweedle is going to stand up and make some dad noises as he stretches out. I shouldn't have sat like that long. Too old for this. How are you doing over there, buddy? He's talking to Dantholomew.
Yeah, Bartholomew's quite calm and thinking. I think smiles a little bit and says, "We're about the same age, you know."
I don't see how that makes a difference.
And he'll sort of sit up as well, and now just sort of lean back against Word, and just kind of checking on all his guards, and like goes to check on Aya, and they're gone. I'm just kind of, okay.
If your new hand feels a bit sticky, I can probably get one of my bumbles to cover it with wax.
That sounds lovely.
So I blow my whistle, but not so loud as to attract the giant, gigantamaxed insects in the area.
Don't interrupt them. They're in a mating dance.
Yeah, no.
They're falling in love.
And I call over my old two-headed bumblebee. They kind of pull themselves this way and that way as they try to fly over, because they're two heads wanting to do different things at the same time. And in a somewhat gross sight, because this is honestly very gross how bees make wax, they throw up on your stomach, on your arm, I mean, and start spreading it around on your arm to make wax. And
Quiweedle
just keep it still for a bit so it hardens a little bit.
Quiweedle is going to clear his throat and say, maybe you should offer some wax to that sheep fella. Could use it to make candles.
Oh. Yeah, that'd be a nice idea.
If you're all ready to get moving, I think we should maybe get out of the swamp before things shift around.
I think it was that way, right?
I think so.
We did go in circles for a while, but I think it is that way.
I hope so.
I'm hoping that that's an observation that turns out to be correct.
You're the one who can always make an observation that turns out to be correct, buddy.
I like to think that the witch probably has some control or some persuade. She can persuade the swamp a little bit.
Probably.
And senses us heading out, and it's like, okay, just let them go out this time. It's fine. It's
Get
on me.
Get them out of my swamp.
Yeah.
In a not mean way, but in a I'm tired of having guests over way.
Yeah. Even old friends. So what do you guys think we encounter as we're traveling through the swamp? Because we're not going to get out of the swamp immediately. It's probably going to be mid-afternoon by the time we're out of the swamp.
We see lots of water and water-bogged trees.
And there are lots of worms here.
Yes,
There
wriggly
sure are
worms
lots of
and
worms.
heavy fog. We honestly don't see much because of that heavy fog.
So what do we hear?
We hear the mating dance of the dragonfly and monarch butterfly.
I feel like we
I wanna-
probably also hear some cricket song. Um,
The splish
Um,
splash of some fish.
So my small and forgotten god, Wick, who lives on my shoulder, which is why I'm tapping it incessantly, is luminescent, is one of their traits. And as such, they can always, some of the things they can always do are shed light on the shadows of the world, lead the way, or non-verbally ask what is true about you that you keep from everyone. So I'm going to choose the latter two. And so I think Wick helps lead the way out of the swamp. I imagine by sort of interacting with the light that is still somehow bouncing around off the heavy fog, and kind of bending it to kind of help us see ways through that we might not have otherwise seen, and like careful places to
I feel like
step.
that light might also attract some fireflies that live in the swamp, who help to fill out the path a bit. Great, we're gonna sit in silence. You're muted, Aaron.
I have to very carefully guide my bumbles through this fog because they are not smart boys. They're not smart ladies either.
They're not smart critters.
Nope.
I'm enjoying the vision of lots of fireflies like guiding our way through this deep dark swamp.
And like a single line of bees just following one of the fireflies.
I would like Wick to non-verbally ask Queer Weedle, probably without Dantholomu's knowledge, because Wick is a bit more not as loud, perhaps, as Dulcet is. But as you kind of walk past or come shoulder to shoulder here and there with Dantholomu, Queer Weedle, yes, Wick non-verbally asks, what is true about you that you keep from everyone? If they want to withhold an answer from you, they're going to need to spend a token.
Queerweedle, I think, has a habit of not withholding answers from small gods. He was already respectful of them before he met Dantholomew, but after building a friendship with Dantholomew and meeting more small gods and interacting with them in ways he never had before, he's grown to value them much more dearly than he once did. So I don't think he ever withholds an answer when a small god asks him something. He always tries to answer to the best of his ability. And I think his answer is that he's tired. He's been physically tired for years. He's just old. And he's been adventuring for decades. But he's also soul tired. Like deep in his bones, in his heart of hearts, he's tired. And he tends to deflect that with just being a tired old man.
And Wick kind of glows a little bit, trying to warm you, and you feel a bit of warmth in this cold swamp.
So we probably eventually make it back out of the swamp. I don't think that we make it back out in exactly the spot that we were expecting to. We're probably a bit further away from the workshop than we wanted to be. But the other dragonflies have now joined this dance above us. And of course, the wind is still rustling wildly because of the giant dragonfly and the giant last monarch butterfly dancing above us. And, the grass is rustling wildly. The bumbles are, I'm sure, having trouble staying on course because of the wind, as if they weren't already, because bees are clumsy. I love bees. But we're out now, and the sun is probably high above us at this point. And I feel like we didn't pick what season it was before we started.
It was till soil last time.
Yeah. But I feel like it's probably, I don't remember the names of the seasons off the top of my head, and I didn't print that page out, but it's probably more into warmer days. Not the heat of a summer, but warmer days. So, Leap is the first season of the year. We're probably in Bright, I want to say. We're probably specifically in Bloom Meadow, when fields and trees are covered in flowers. So, it's a nice day out. It's sunny, it's bright, it's beautiful, and I think the beauty is just added to by the many dragonflies dancing through the air, and the giant dragonfly and monarch butterfly, dancing out whatever strange foreign from us emotions they are experiencing right now.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, we probably should eat something. I'm sure that craftsperson, we didn't get their name. I'm sure that craftsperson back there will be more than happy to at least give us a kitchen to cook in, if not share a meal with us.
Sounds good.
You're muted.
They seemed very nice.
They did.
I wonder if the culinary arts are something they have also dabbled in.
Maybe.
Well, I hope someone has.
You're not bad at a campfire, Queerweedle.
I'm alright at it. I could be better.
So I send out my bees to find the workshop again, following the scent of flowers.
Nice.
We can follow the bees, slowly but
Follow the
surely.
bees.
And Queerweedle gets to keep his feet on the ground this time. You comfy, old man? Where's my phone? I have to take a picture of this old man. Chewy. Are you comfy? To everyone watching us, if you're not part of the Compass Source Productions Discord, somewhere down below the stream window, there's going to be a link to our Compass Source Productions card. There should also be a link to the Discord itself. But you can join the Discord and see things like pictures of my dog that I'm literally posting right now. Come hang out with us. Talk to us about stuff. Share pictures of your pets. Look at pictures of our pets. It's fun. All right, so
a nice leisurely walk across the glen in the wind as we make our way back to the workshop.
And I think when we get to the workshop, I think probably the doors are propped open, because I know it's gonna get toasty in there while certain activities are happening, because glass blowing requires really hot ovens in order to, melt the glass down or melt the sanded silica down. So the doors are probably propped open, the windows have been opened, and I'm sure there's leaves and bits of grass and flower petals and, dandelion tufts blustering through the workshop as we arrive. And I feel like there's probably a little sign, a hand-carved sign that's been hung out that says, "Come on in." Because I feel like that's probably what the workshop is for people to come on in and make stuff together. It just happens to also be where the caretaker of this workshop lives.
And I imagine spilling out of the door is this really long tapestry. It's just kind of like rolled out the front door.
This just impossibly long tapestry. What do y'all think is on the tapestry? What do you think it depicts? You're muted, Aaron.
I think it depicts everything, and from what we can see so far, it has depicted the most of it is rolled up and behind the loom, but what the loom was making just today, and now we can see the giant dragonfly and the giant butterfly sort of flying around each other, and little bees and us flying around with the dragonfly.
Queeweedle is probably going to stop to examine the tapestry, and he's probably going to get lost in that for a little bit. Just looking at the tapestry, unrolling what's been made already to look back. So what are y'all doing?
Dantholomewy's going to like squat and like kind of go sideways and get in the door, and then stand up again. I imagine it's quite like spacious inside.
Probably, yeah.
Actually, tall roof and that kind of thing. And is going to look around for the caretaker, for the craftsperson that lives here. And when he sees them, just gonna walk up to them and be like, "I'm Dantholomewy. What's your name?" Name generator, go.
I'm Amable. You were here earlier. Welcome back.
Thank you. Yes, we had a successful journey. We saw some very beautiful dragonflies, and a large dragonfly, and a large butterfly, and there was lots of light happening. I did lose a hand, but I got a new one.
All of that in one
And-
day.
Yes.
Not
and
even a
then-
day. It's been a few hours.
Has it? At least a couple, perhaps several.
I think 5 or 6. Maybe?
So a
I'm
few.
not great at tracking time. I don't have a clock in here.
I look at Wick. About 5 hours and 37 minutes.
That's very precise. You have a watch, don't you?
No, but I have a way to tell the time. I don't. I know someone who does.
Okay.
Well, good to meet you, Amable. Now that we finally know each other's names. I, for one, was quite hungry, and I was wondering if we could make use of some of your benches and perhaps an oven that is not currently in use.
Yes, and they're going to pull out the clump of glass that they were beginning to melt down and rest it. It's still really hot. It's just not quite hot enough. They're going to rest it on the blowing pike, so that it won't, you know, touch anything, get stuck anywhere, etc., etc. And they're going to kind of step back and point one direction and then another and then a third direction and go, it's that way. The kitchen's that way. You're more than welcome to use it. I'm a little busy right now.
Thank you.
Make yourself comfortable.
And then, Dan Bartholomew will amble over that way, taking in the sights of all the lights going through the glass as he does so. Is Queerweedle still captivated?
Yeah, Queerweedle has been slowly working his way backwards through the tapestry, almost like he's looking for something.
What about James Lindsay Witherby?
You muted.
You muted.
They are gonna go to Amable and they will offer as thanks for letting us use your kitchen. Would you like some wax to use for my bees?
Wax. I've been meaning to work with wax. I could dye it. I could make wax blocks for people to use for seals. I could use wax. Oh, I could carve wax to make forms to cast things in. I could use wax for so. I would love to have some wax.
Let me go. Do you have a bowl I could put it in or something? Something preferably.
I should
or
have.
Something.
There are some big clay jars in one of those rooms back there. That somebody made and then left here, and they said that I could keep them, and I haven't figured out what to do with them yet. I think this is the perfect thing to do with them.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna go and collect some of it then.
All right. Thank you.
Would you like to meet them?
I'm a little busy here right now, unfortunately, but I'd love to meet them when I'm done.
Yeah, of course.
This is very time sensitive. You don't want to leave hot glass unattended.
Oh, is that true?
Well, it might burst.
So I'm gonna go and get. Where did you say?
In one of the back rooms.
How many back rooms are there?
4? 6. It's less than 10.
It looks like there's. I see 2.
Then it might be 2.
Okay, I'll check.
And Dan Bartholomew's in the kitchen.
He completely forgets how many rooms are in his house.
I mean, they forget important things. So.
Just how it is. I imagine Dan Bartholomew's, in the kitchen and has a number of ingredients on his person that he's gonna make a nice sort of stew with celery and carrots and good vegetables, potato, onion, things like that. And he's just gonna sort of have that bubble away. And is absentmindedly looking around the kitchen, and I imagine there's perhaps old art projects in here, maybe the craftsperson was into pottery for a while, and there's a couple of different pots and things around, and a couple of sculptures,
mismatched handmade mugs.
Yep, different shapes and sizes, and maybe some paintings as well, random squares of paper with watercolor sketchings on them.
There are probably pots
everywhere.
Of their own paints that they made, because obviously if you're going to learn to paint, you also have to learn to make your own paints.
There's a lot of really good greens, just a lot, a deep variety of greens. And Dan Bartholomew is going to take one of his bits of paper and sample a couple of the different greens, and then just stick that on his body to look at later.
Solid. Queeweedle is eventually, probably takes a while. Dantholomewy's probably almost done making the stew. But he's eventually going to wander into the kitchen. And he's going to sort of lean, like cross his arms and lean back against the counter near Dantholomew. And say, that smells pretty good.
I think I'm missing something. But
Well,
if it tastes alright,
why don't you let me have a taste?
see the ladle.
And he's going to, have a little taste. And he's going to say, yeah, it is missing something. Give me just a second. And he's going to leave the building entirely. And I think there's probably a window in the kitchen. You see him walk past it once, and then after a couple minutes, come back the other way. And then he comes back in, and he's breaking up a garlic bulb to get fresh cloves of garlic. And he's pulling the papers off of them, and grumbling about the garlic papers sticking to the pads of his fingers. And then he's got, a little knife that he starts slicing fresh garlic directly into the pot. And he slices half of the bulb, roughly, directly into the pot. And then the rest of it he just tosses whole cloves in after he's unwrapped them.
Sorry, you finished?
Yeah.
Then, so yeah, Dantholomewy's kind of look in and be stirring while Queeweedle's doing that. And then when Queeweedle's done, is going to use his lightly sticky wax hands to pick up all the paper of the garlic from the pads of Queeweedle's hands.
Thank you. That's pretty useful.
You're muted.
And around this time, Gel comes back in with a full, multiple pots of wax, and it's fresh liquidish form before it's damn solid. And they're gonna say, "Wow, that really smells good. Really, really good. I've been
Good
living off
timing.
honey for so long."
I don't think you're supposed to eat just honey.
Have you tried?
I'm pretty sure
Yes.
that's the opposite of a balanced meal. You could survive off just potatoes for a long time, but just honey ain't gonna give you everything you need.
And they're not drooling because birds don't drool, but there's just a sense of intense staring at the food.
Yeah, Dantholomewy scoops out into 4 bowls and hands the first one to James Lindsay Witherby. Says, "Here you go, James Lindsay Witherby. Enjoy."
Thank you. And I stick my beak in, and it's hot, so I get it out. And I stick my beak in, and it's hot, so I stick it out. I stick my beak in, and it's hot, so I take it out.
Queeweedle is going to take one of the bowls and say, I'm gonna take this out to Amable. And head back into the workshop. And I think he's gonna stop short because Amable is walking into the kitchen carrying a small glass structure. This little glass structure, it's mostly clear glass, but there are cores in a couple of the facets of it that are colored. And the glass structure is this winding, it's got multiple winding pulls coming up, kind of like a barber pole, but in little glass, bands. that wind up and twist around each other, and they sort of billow out in the center. And they almost look suspended in the center of this sort of vortex of glass. But you see the bodies of the giant dragonfly and the monarch butterfly like twisting around in it's just such delicate, fine glasswork. It's so it almost looks magical because it's just so fine and delicate and fragile. And it looks like if you so much just looked at it the wrong way, it could just shatter.
Oh, I shouldn't let my youngest near this.
And Amable brings it over and sort of clears off some papers from the center of a dining table. There are probably 2 or 3 dining tables near the kitchen, and sets this glass structure right in the middle. Says, "I think I'm done."
Whoa,
Wow.
that's really cool.
Thank you.
How'd you get it in there?
Very carefully. It's all one piece of glass. It all connects. It was a lot of work, but thankfully I've been doing this for a while, and I think it's time for me to move on to something new.
Ooh.
Like with wax?
Like with wax. I think this was what I learned glassblowing for. Was to make this.
Very beautiful.
It's
Well,
my masterpiece.
I'm glad we were able to help along with that.
Yes, thank you.
Would be part of it.
How were you part of it?
Well,
We
the
introduced the dragonfly and the butterfly together.
Oh. Well, that sounds fun. Can I help you, Tilly? What do you
Have
need,
you
little girl?
named this masterpiece of yours?
No. I'm always bad at the naming part. Do you have any ideas?
Dance of the Monarchs?
Maybe. That's not a bad idea.
Dancing for something.
Gorilla says they met on Match.swamp.
Oh, gods.
Or Waltz of the Giants. Yes, that's also good, Jake.
Waltz of the Giants is pretty good, yeah. Amable kind of shrugs and says, it'll be alright. We can, figure it out later.
Oh, sorry, Jake. I thought you were doing an actual Link.
For those watching the VOD later on YouTube, Jake posted insectmingle.com, and our bot flagged it as a link.
But yes.
So we're all going to sit down to a fine, hearty meal. Excuse
That is not
you.
honey.
Tilly's causing problems.
I just keep my bacon and drink and drink and drink and drink, and then I just pack all the remaining solids in the bowl.
Bartholomew kind of, eats slowly with a spoon that he found. He's enjoying the warmth.
Queeweedle has his own little silverware set that he breaks out for eating meals, mostly. And he's probably going to find another little saucepan and boil some water. And very carefully ladle it over some loose leaf tea for everyone, so everyone gets a nice cup of tea. Tilly, quit it. I'm being harassed by a child who is small and fat. Are you ready?
She's bait.
Are you ready to get smacked in the face with feathers? Okay. I'm just gonna have to do this while we wrap up so that she stops harassing me. She wants to play. She wants to play so bad. I'm just gonna smack her in the face with feathers several times, and I bet she'll be happy. So, we've got a nice hearty stew, we've got a nice relaxing tea, and I feel like probably we're going to spend the night in this workshop. Because that stew probably took a while to make. And it's getting late.
And Bartholomew's going to sleep on the roof.
Queeweedle is probably going to curl up near the tapestry and resume looking through it late into the night.
What about James Lindsay Witherby?
Sorry, what was that?
Where is James Lindsay Witherby going to sleep?
I'm gonna curl up with my herd as they buzz to keep warm. Buzz.
Nice.
You know what's scary? Japanese bees, to kill the wasps that predate them, will just grab onto a wasp and just vibrate violently until it overheats
Yeah.
and kills both the bees that are vibrating and the wasp.
Yeah. So,
They don't do that
Imagine
to me,
this is
don't
a-
worry.
This is a fun Bumble fact that James Lindsay Witherby tells us before we go to bed.
Yes.
Fun fact of the day.
There are bumbles in the world that can vibrate so fast they'll kill you.
They're
Queeweedle's just like,
danger
thanks for
boys.
that. I definitely needed to know that.
They're danger boys.
And yeah, I
So,
imagine we all drift
we're
off to sleep.
we're gonna wrap up here with everyone going to sleep, in this workshop on the edge of the Myrmuck Swamp. After Fran has departed from Queeweedle's care to begin their new life and whatever it's going to hold. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Wanderhome is available now. You can purchase the PDF immediately on Itch.io. Or you can purchase a physical copy on the Possum Creep Games website. It's a lot of fun. We love Wanderhome. We absolutely adore Wanderhome. It's really easy to get into with your friends. As you saw tonight, it is a GM agnostic system. You can have someone run it or not. It's up to you. And as you also saw tonight, it is a diceless system. There is no math. There is no number crunching. You don't have to worry about any of that. It's just a fun, relaxing game where you get to make some people and tell a story with them. And build the world that they are adventuring through. So if you are in the mood for something chill and heartfelt, that focuses on stories and emotions instead of numbers and combat, check out Wanderhome. We are going to be playing Wanderhome again next week at the same time. We're probably going to have a couple more people than we did tonight. And you're all welcome to join us then, too. We'd be super excited to have you all. And I'm going to ask Aaron to raid a friend of ours, a friend of the stream, Gender Meowster, if they're still streaming, so that we can give them a big streaming hug. And you should all follow Gender Meowster if you're not.
On Twitch and on Twitter as well, and they also have a really nice, lovely Discord.
So yeah, whenever you are ready to raid, Aaron, go ahead.
Alright, we'll see you guys later, and you'll be heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fantastic. Okay.
We met some gay bugs.
And then you can end the stream, Scotty.